Welcome to the Ripple Effect by the Alliance. We are committed to raising the frequency of our planet. We'll discuss hot topics, share practical tools and sacred frequencies to reveal the magic in your life. Come laugh, cry, and have fun with us.
Hello, welcome back everyone to the Ripple Effect Pod. We are so excited to have you here. Myself, Sarah, Hannah, and Stacia. We are the Alliance. Hello. And today's episode is a unique one. We are taking a look back. What did we call it last time? Hannah, you had a great name for it, and I wrote it down.
Retrospection.
Retrospective.
Retrospective.
Yes.
A retrospective.
Yes. Welcome to our retrospective episode. We each chose one of our favorite episodes / lessons, our favorite lessons basically from our favorite episode. That was really hard to narrow down. Some harder than others, myself included. And what we want to do, we're going to play you the clip from the episode. So we each chose our own episode and we each chose a couple different clips. We're going to show you one or two clips from the episodes and then we're going to talk about it. So with this new fresh look, us looking back on it with you, what's our perspective on it now? Do we still stand by that? Which I know we all do. Have we had these lessons come up again? How have they impacted us? And what we'd love to know too is when you're looking back, do you remember the episode? Did you use any of these tools in your life? And how did they help you? So we want you to do the retrospective too and share with us in the comments and let us know how it helped you, or maybe it was a reminder of, oh yeah, I had this lesson a few months ago. Did I put it into practice? So we're going to start.
Or you didn't watch the episode and you'll see that.
Yes, and then you can go and watch the full episode because, we might have some new people listening, and this will be your opportunity to go and check out these episodes. So we're going to begin with Stacia's episode. She chose reality versus perception. That was episode 16. Can you believe that was 3 months ago? When I saw that, I was like, what? That just happened. And then I saw how much longer my hair is now. Like, I need a haircut. So we're going to play that clip for you now. And we're going to come back and let you know our take on it now.
So it could very well have been a deal breaker for us. Right. And Stacia was saying, what were you saying? Stacia's like, you can't be offended. I'm offended. You're offended.
Yeah. Right. I said 3 years ago, had you been upset for something that I didn't mean for you to be upset, I would have been upset. Like, how dare you be offended? I'm offended. You can't be offended, but then I'm thinking about people and their families and like situations where sometimes people will just cut each other off, and I'm sure it's for way less than what we were going through, because everybody wants to be right, and it's the way that I see it is the way that it is, and we were able to rise above that and look at each other's points of view, and that's what was so beautiful about it. It's like a lot of people don't know that you've got to be willing to step outside of your perception to see that there's so many different ways that it can actually be for anybody else.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I was saying to the ladies before this. I was like, what do you think it was? How are we able to do this? Because Hannah mentioned, like, I told the ladies this morning, I'm like, at the end, I'm like, when we were done talking, I'm like, I've been a part of so many committees in my previous job, working on teams with people. I never really enjoyed that because, like, things would happen, right? And there was always conflict and people didn't know how to resolve it. And I said, I've never seen this happen before the way we did, the way we handled it, and with so much respect. Nobody was yelling at anyone. We were able to just share openly. We heard each other, and we listened. It was like someone spoke and we're actually listening, which not a lot of people do. They're listening and they're like, when is it my turn to talk? And
yes. Or what am I going to say?
what
You
am I gonna
know,
say?
like
What's
I'm
my
listening, but I'm listening to
yeah.
what am I going to say
And they
back
go
to
to
you?
defensive mode and okay, how can I
Yeah.
counter that? And there was none of that, right? And it was listening, and like Stacia, you said it so beautifully. It was like being able to look from above and take yourself out of it and look from above and see someone else's perspective, right? And I was looking at, okay, I I'm looking at how it went down, looking at Stacia, knowing Stacia so well, and how it came across for her, and then looking at Hannah and knowing Hannah so well, and what her intention would be and how it came across. And it was just like, it was honestly like we were analyzing something that wasn't even us anymore. Like it was like, okay, let's look at this as though it's other people's perspective. And yeah, it did come down to, it wasn't about like, do we disagree or agree with each other? It was like the delivery and having that compassion for one another. And that was my big takeaway, right? Was like us having that compassion for each other, because that's then what we're trying to do and spread for other people, right? Is have that compassion. So um I was like in awe of us. I was like, man, nobody, I've never witnessed something like that before. And I'm like, and I got to be a part of it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Hannah said something that was great. She said that what we were doing was really going to be a catalyst for like healing so many parts of our life, because now we're going to look at all kinds of situations differently. And that's really what we're sharing with our listeners, is that you've got to be willing to take off those blinders and see that there's so many more perceptions around you than what you're perceiving, and not harbor your feelings into what you feel like someone else should be feeling. You're like, oh, I'm feeling this, why aren't you feeling this, you know? Or
Yeah.
so it's just, it was really, today's been really incredible.
Okay, so we hope you enjoyed that clip. I know I did. I took down some notes watching it again. And but I'm gonna start with you, Stacia, because it's your clip and you chose it for a reason. So I'd love to know why you picked this episode and why did you want to share this particular clip with our audience?
So we had a situation come up where, I mean, honestly, it could have not only ended our podcast, but it could have ended our friendship.
Mhm.
And we were able to move through this so eloquently. And I mean, after watching that, I hope that you feel this too, that we elevated this bond that we already have with each other, because we were able to take all of this work that we do, which if you watch our episodes, you know that we throw these tools in here for you. But we were able to take all of this work that we do, and we were able to put it into actual situation that arose. And I feel like had we not been doing the work, we could have fallen into so many different scenarios that thankfully we rose above. And I feel like the way that we handled everything, you know, is really, it's really helpful in like all kinds of life situations. Because I don't know about you, but I am a reformed wannabe right person. I always wanted to be right. And I would throw myself into traffic to let you know that I was right and you're not. You know, no, you're wrong. I'm right. And so to be able to let that go, and then realize that I can do this in so many different avenues of my life, where, you know, you hear people say pick your battles. Well, this went way beyond picking your battles. It was literally, how do I listen, actively listen, and how do I remove, you know, my hurt feelings from a situation so that I can look at it and really come up with a solution that's going to work for everyone to rise above it. And we did that so eloquently, ladies. And this is why I chose this, because I felt like all of us really brought so much good to the table in this episode. And I really really truly hope that people can see this and realize that, you know, sometimes when we are fighting with others, you know, and maybe I say others with plural because, you know, who's the common denominator? You know, it's us, and we have to decide to be that, you know, to take that higher road, to be that bigger person, because, you know, Hotel California, once you know, there's no going back, and you'll understand that it's so much easier than we make it out to be. And I'm really, you know, Hannah said in that episode she was kind of glad that this happened, and, you know, really I am too, because it really showed me that our bond is so strong, and that this really took us to another level. So that's why I picked this episode.
I'm really
Oh,
glad you
yeah.
you picked it. For
Yeah.
me today, watching that interaction,
Mhm.
first of all, it brought me back to that day. And you guys said, "Oh, I can't believe it's been 3 months. It was like yesterday." But for me, that day was so intense that once we moved through it, I just moved on and kept moving forward. So for me, it
That's
felt like, oh my God, we went through that.
yeah.
And it was almost like shock to see, oh my God, we went through that and we survived. And now here we are, almost 4 months later, still going strong. And it took at an even deeper level because we've been doing a lot of research to position our podcast in a different way. We're coming up with so many incredible things that are coming. But one of the things that struck me in my research, and it's been like ringing in my head since I found out about it, was that most podcasts do not survive past the seventh episode. That was episode what, 16? So we were way past that, way double over that deadline. And I'm glad, I always say, I'm glad, we didn't know, because could have put it in our head. Oh, well, if they don't survive, why even bother? Why even try? And we didn't have that statistics. Nobody told us that we had more chances of failing than succeeding or going through. And I'm glad we didn't know. But today, watching that clip really brought tears to my eyes because it added a whole new dimension. Now knowing that our chances of survival were slim, and at that point we had gone past that. But every word I said struck me in the right way today. And everything you said, Station, everything you said, Sarah, I was like almost reliving it, but also learning from it again. I don't know how it took a really
Yeah, I
deeper.
I feel that. I feel that. I like I said, I was writing down notes when I'm like, this is good. This is good perspective. And I was really proud of us again. I know I said that in that episode, but I was like, damn, wow, we really handled that well. And like some of the things I wrote down was like, Stacia had said, like, we rose above, right? To see each other's point of view. We had respect, we listened, compassion, a safe space for communication. That's pretty powerful, right? And the big thing I wrote down was the conflict actually brought us closer. And I think it
Yes.
showed us, I think it was a blessing. I think it showed us what we were made of. I think it showed us how, I feel like we could handle anything. If we could handle a situation with each other, God knows what's going to come at us on this journey together. And we got each other's backs. We know we can get through it. And I loved it. I feel like it was this beautiful test, and we passed with a gold star. And watching it again, I'm so happy that you picked that episode, Stacia. It was such a beautiful reminder. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and we found that we were, and I said it right. We found out that we were more alike than we
Mhm.
had. We were, sometimes we say the same thing in a different way and it
Yeah.
gets misunderstood, and we're actually saying the same thing. And this conflict showed us that we were coming at it from the same place of love,
Yeah.
from the same place of wanting to take care of the people that we love, and that sometimes we'll say things that come across differently than we were intending to. That's what happened to me, right? I said some stuff, and then I was hurt, and then all these things happened. But the original intent came out wrong, or it was misunderstood, and then the whole thing unraveled from there. But then we realized we're coming from the same place, and we're more alike than different, and we gave ourselves a chance to know that.
And the
Oh,
only
yay,
thing different
thank you.
is Hannah and I have met in person since that episode. And in that episode, none of us had met yet. And we were talking about like energetically hugging. I'm like, I actually got to hug her.
Yes.
Now we just have to meet Stacia.
That's right. That's right. Soon.
So next we're going to go to my episode that I chose. I had a hard time narrowing it down. I thought about Hotel California. But I ended up deciding on 3 Feet from Gold because I feel like recently I got to this point again in my life, so I needed that lesson for myself. And then I feel like I always need that reminder. So I feel like others might as well. So we're gonna play the clip and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah. And I think when I heard when you're saying that, well, 2 things. One, it was like when you're saying the story and like the ending, yeah, we don't like it, but it was like, it's kind of like a wake up call. It's like, okay, where am I doing this in my own life? Like, that's where like, oh, it hits you. It's like, okay, where have I done that? And when you're talking about like sharing, if you've already told someone, even if you've already like, oh, I'm doing this challenge and someone's like shooting you down, it's like, let it be your prove it moment to be like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, there's nothing like, okay, make this a challenge with yourself. Like, I'm going to prove to people that I can do this. And the other thing I want to say is whenever I've been really solid and certain in something, it didn't matter who I told. It was like I had a suit of armor on. But if I was wonky in it myself and I told someone, it was like Hannah saying, it's like, then it was like, oh, that was all I needed to deflate my balloon and be like, okay, I shouldn't do this, right? So just because somebody has a perception of like, oh, that won't work, or these are all the things that can go wrong, or here's the limitations in that, that's their perspective. So it's like yes, that's true. That is an outcome that can happen. That's reality. But the other reality is it could happen. It could be a big success. You could have so much wonderful things happen in your life because of doing it. You know, this could bring in so much joy and happiness and abundance. And why not go after that? Because either outcome is possible, but by you making a decision like, oh, I want to follow through and do this, the chances of the positive, the outcome that you really want to happening is more likely than if you obviously just say, okay, well, I'm not going to do this. Well, yeah, well, now look at you, then you proved them right. So I say
Right.
prove them wrong.
Right. And the thing is, once you're certain and you've made that decision, that point you touched on is so important, because once you've decided, nothing is gonna take you down. But if you allow one nano doubt come in, it's like the kiss of death, right? What tiny little doubt has destroyed many ideas before they even get started. Yeah. So don't let anybody shoot you down before you even start.
You know, even things that are so good for you, there's going to be someone telling you that's not what they would do, but that's not your journey. No. And so we just want to make sure that, you know that you can stand strong in who you are, and if you need to hold it in, and then just keep pushing forward.
Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that clip. It gives you a little taste of the episode 3 Feet from Gold. Maybe a little reminder for those of you who took part in the gratitude journey when we did that. Reminder that that's all still available to everybody. So if anyone's interested, please reach out to us and we can get all of that information to you so you can participate in that. The reason I picked this episode in this particular clip is because I have found in the past, sometimes I will get on a bit of a hamster wheel and I'll be going through the motions. I might stay in a situation or avoid a certain situation because it's just the idea of something else seems so foreign, or I didn't even bring it into my own reality, right? And if I had just, believed a little bit more, not maybe drowned out the white noise and just listened to myself, like Hannah pointed out in the episode, we sometimes get, if we take on other people's ideas of like, oh, that's not going to work because, or you shouldn't do this because, or that's not safe. Like I think of so many things in my life where I was going to do it or want to do it, but if I brought it to the attention of other people, they'd be like, well, that's not safe, or this will happen, or that'll happen, or you can't do that because, or this doesn't happen for people like us because. And I think the way you said it was like it was the kiss of death, and it was like, oh, there's your dream just demolished. But meanwhile, it was right there waiting for you, right? And I know a lot of people give up, and coming from the business side of it, and the when I think about like the strategy and stuff that goes behind building an online business, so many people stop, right? And they're like, oh, this isn't working, or I've tried this coach and nothing worked, and I've tried this one strategy and it's not working, so like I'm done, I'm not doing coaching anymore. And I know so many fellow coaches that just fell off the wagon. You're like, where did they go? And they were probably like so close, someone was waiting to like pay them or sign up for their thing. I've had that in my own business where you just don't know when someone's going to come in. Someone who was in my world for a year and a half signed up for something. It was like my highest ticket offer I'd ever put out. Right. And it was like, I didn't know that person was waiting. If I had stopped, that person would have been like, oh, well, I was ready to pay her, but she stopped. Right. So for me, it was a really good reminder in all areas of my life that at any point, I could be 3 feet from gold. So I have to keep going, no matter if it's hard, if I'm tired, if I'm frustrated, if it feels like it's taking forever. If I just keep going, I don't know what's waiting there. And it could be something totally different than I even imagined. And it could be totally something that's even way better. Right. But I don't know until I keep going. So
one thing that I wanted to add that got moved in me when I heard the clip was that if you have a desire in your heart, I believe in a benevolent God. I believe that God has our back. And so if we come from the basis that there is a benevolent God, a benevolent universe, whatever you believe in, then what kind of cruel God would plant a dream in your heart so you couldn't have it?
yeah.
Right? So if you have a dream in your heart, I believe deeply and profoundly that whatever it is that you're dreaming about, either you were meant to do it and come and share those gifts with the world, you were meant to have it. Right? It was there. It's there for you. Otherwise, you couldn't imagine it having it.
Yeah.
If it's not in your orbit, then why would you, you wouldn't be aware of it. So you have it there, and it may come at you completely different. It may be that what you're looking for is a feeling or a state of being more than anything. Like people go after money thinking money is going to make them happy. And then a lot of people, find out the hard way. They work their entire lives. They finally get the money. And then it's like, wah, 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 wah. It's like fun. That wasn't it, right? So if you start being happy, then the money will follow. Basically, it's the other way around, and we have to flip it on its head. But if we have a dream, then we must. I feel like it's an obligation to go after it. But the other thing is that whenever we share it with people, especially the people that are closest to us, the people who love us the most, they are the ones that are going to put in the nano doubt. Why? Not out of malice. On the contrary, because they love us and they want to protect us and they don't want us to suffer. But they might be coming from their own experience in their life where they went for something and it didn't work out. So they don't want you to experience the same level of pain. So instead of egging people on, they're like, no, 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 let's play it safe. Because normally we tend as humans to play it safe because we want to survive. It's a survival primitive brain mechanism that we want to be safe, we want to stay alive. So if it's something that sounds remotely risky, they're going to go, oh, don't risk it, don't chance it. It's like, don't be evil Knievel, trying to jump 20,000 buses. So I recommend that people don't really share their dreams until they are really completely grounded in them and that nothing can wobble you, nothing can take you out. Like even if people say, how sometimes they'll say, oh, you can't do that. And then you just go, well, watch me.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to be at the point
Yeah.
where you believe in every fiber of your being when you tell them, watch me.
Mhm.
Nothing can shake you because you've already made a decision.
Oh, I love that. But it's so easy to give up because our brains are already looking for that out. Because sometimes it's hard, but I love that you said that, to make a decision, because you ladies know that I made a decision to compete in a jujitsu tournament, and all of my family was like, why? You're going to lose. Why would you do that? And it could have been so easy to say, no, I'm going to give up. But I was 3 feet from gold.
It's perfect. I love that.
3 feet from gold. And it's like, that just really helped me solidify that the decisions that I make are because that's my desire. And whatever somebody's telling me it's their opinion on what they know.
Yeah.
And I know what I know. And having you guys here with me, it's just like, oh, I love this episode. I love this episode. I'm so glad that you chose it.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I love it too. And I think it's such a beautiful reminder for everybody listening, not just us. Like what you can accomplish when you put your mind to it. And I love that how perfect that you had your gold.
Just happened to be right here.
Yeah, that's the best. Like if you take anything from the episode, take that.
Well, not only that, Stasia's episode, your episode flowed incredibly into Stasia's episode because we were talking about perception in
and
this
we didn't
episode
even
too.
plan
Right.
it. Like we all just picked
Right.
an episode. Like
we picked our own, and
we
we're
picked our
talking
own. We
about
didn't tell each other.
perception and how different outcomes and all this thing, and it just kind of just flowed into it. I actually was a little shocked, not shocked, right? Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Of course it did. Of
And I
course.
was like, well, yeah, there we go. Because that's what we do. We are so energetically connected. We worked so much at, and I believe that the exercise that we just did on the portal might have activated that communion between us because we just had an energetic party
Yeah, we did.
on the 7/7 portal, and we were very connected energetically that way. And I believe that it's like, yeah, why wouldn't it be that?
Yeah.
Right? Why would it have been any different?
Yeah. So that leads us into your episode, Hannah. which is our human being versus human doing episode. Would you like to share why you chose that one and what clip and all that?
Well, it was interesting. We were talking about picking an episode, and of course, I went and I dissected what 7 episodes because
Or 12.
I
Something
got
like
it though, like, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is great, but just one, please.
I was like, "Oh, you meant just one. Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna do this montage." And I was like, in my mind, we're doing this like Steven Spielberg production and all that, which not
That's the
gonna happen.
actress in you coming up.
And I was like, "Oh, I love this one. I love this one." And then at the end, it's like, "Well, if I have to pick just one, then make it this one." And the reason I picked human doing versus human being is because I set off into the human doing, right? It's like do. Okay, 10 episodes. Hamster wheel. And but what struck me in that episode was the ending message that we had, or the outlying message, which is it reminded me of the reason why we set out to do this podcast, which was to bring well, watch the clip
Let's
and we'll
watch the
talk.
clip and then we'll come back and talk about
One of my philosophies, and I think I know it's your philosophy as well. We will never tell someone to do something or give someone advice on something we haven't tried,
it.
or we haven't proven at least that it works for ourselves. It may not work for the person, but we know that at least what we're saying is we're standing fully in our truth.
Yeah.
And so today is really important for us because we wanted to put our followers up to speed with what is like happening in real time as it happens. And we are really transparent with everything that we do. I think from the start, we're like, we don't know what we're doing, but here we are.
Yeah.
And so we've been learning as we go along. We don't have we've never had a challenge or a problem coming up with content. That is what is extra for us, right?
Yeah.
I know so many of my friends are like, well, I want to do a podcast, but I wouldn't know what to talk about. With us, it's like we have, like Sarah has this notebook with pages and pages of idea after idea after idea. And she just like writes it down. Oh, this one as we're speaking. Even in the middle of episodes, she's like, oh, this is a good one. And you write it down.
Yeah.
And so that has never been an issue. But here's the thing, in order to have things be successful, sometimes we have to do stuff that is not the stuff that we like, that is not the stuff we excel at. And we must put ourselves in a situation of discomfort, because success lies right outside of our comfort zone. And it was getting very comfortable for us. We've been at this, can you believe this? We've been at this for 6 months. I remember the 2 days before we launched, because it took us 2 days to launch. From decision to launch.
Oh, man.
So when we make a decision and we say go, that's it. We go.
Yeah.
But then we started putting out content and we were so happy about it. When we edit the episodes, we're like, oh, that was a good one. Oh, I learned so much just from listening to each other during the episodes. When we listen to these episodes, we're like, man, that was good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's practical. If people really take these tools to heart, their lives could really change. Yeah. So we're putting out a lot of content that is of value to us, that has helped us, that is practical, that is easy and simple, that people can just implement right then, right now. and have some result.
All right, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that clip. Hannah, I'll let you speak to why you chose that specific clip.
Yeah, because I just felt that it spoke to the essence, like I said, of what the reason behind why we chose to do this. And when you have such a powerful why, people tell you find your why. Yeah, when I have my coaches, when I work with any coach, they've always told me find your why, the reason why you want to get up, the reason why you want to do it when it's hard, the reason when you want to do it when you don't want to do it, the reason when you can find every single excuse. It's like going to the gym, right? You decide you're going to go to the gym, but then it's like you wake up at 5 and it's cloudy or it's rainy and it's cold, and you're like, it's so easy to not do it. So like, and Stacia was saying, it's so easy to not do it, and it takes the exact same time to not do it than do it. But when you make a decision and you have a why that's so powerful, nothing stops you. Because we've had every and we've talked about this ad nauseum, that we've had plenty of opportunities to not show up, to cancel, to stop going, to say, let's not do it anymore. But because, I have whatever, and I'm traveling, or I have jujitsu, or I have a new job, or I'm getting married, or, we've gone through really big stuff in our lives. Stacia went through a period of time where everything was just like, I think that's why we did that episode, When Things Go South, right? It was like everything was just like, well, what else can go wrong today? Because, I'm collecting situations here. And,
Yeah.
and I believe that sticking this out, how you do anything is how you do everything. We keep saying that. And sticking it out also gives us the fuel in our own life to stick it out when we just want to give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's and especially when there's so many reasons supporting giving up. And it's so funny how we
I know all our, and because something that you said in the clip was like, success lies right outside our comfort zone. And I'm like, well, damn, doesn't that tie into what, like, I was just saying from my clip too, right? It was like, it's so easy to just say, okay, well, this isn't working, or have an excuse or a reason why to stop. But we have to get uncomfortable. We have to, and that's something I always taught my clients too, was like, building up that confidence in what you're doing, and whether it's business or fitness or whatever you're doing, that comes from being courageous. And being courageous means you're going to do stuff that scares you. And for me, I live by that. Like, it's the things that I get that like, ooh, gut reaction, like, nope, don't want to do this. Nope, don't want to go for walks in the winter outside. Like, when I get that physical reaction, like, nope, I'm like, no, I got to embrace this. I got to do this. So anything that scares me, but I know is like pushing me, I'm like, okay, here's where my expansion's coming. Here's where my next level's coming. So I embrace those things. And if they're not happening, there's something, I'm not looking hard enough. I'm not expanding myself enough to see like, okay, I'm getting in my comfort zone. Right. So I like to be pushed outside my comfort zone. And, I loved that clip, that reminder. I love that it all tied in. You'd think we planned it, and we didn't.
And this past week, I read a quote by Julian Assange, and I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what it said, but it said that courage is rarer than intelligence.
Oh, damn.
And it really touched me, because I mean, he's still in jail when he shouldn't be. Let's get real. We're not going to talk about Julian Assange here, but people who should be rallying and really doing something about it they don't have the guts to go and do what he did and endure what he's endured.
Yeah.
But he had a why that was so large, right? And he, what person to share the truth even at the risk of his own life.
Yeah.
And so if we all did a little bit more of that, how different a world this would be.
Yeah.
And I believe that one person can change the world.
Yeah.
People continuously remind me that that is a lie, and I continuously remind them that that for me is the absolute truth. It only takes one person with a new idea to change the world, and I believe that even if it's a little tiny grain of sand that we're contributing, then I will do whatever it takes to put it out there because I feel that it's our, I think we've been appointed
Yeah.
by a divine source to do
That's
this.
the ripple effect of it all, right? If each person does that, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And I loved that reminder too of like having that why, because I think too about when I kept going, I had a why, there was a purpose, there was a reason, there was something bigger to it than just, oh, this is something I want to do because whatever. You were talking about like, oh, someone who wants to just make money. It has to be more than that. Whatever you're doing, there has to be something that is going to get you up every day, get you on that treadmill if it's the 5:30 a.m. workout, get you working on your business, looking for that job, finding that love of your life, whatever that big thing is, there has to be a bigger reason why. Like it's so important. So
Yeah, and the 3 feet from gold is also, putting yourself in an uncomfortable position. And the human doing versus the human being is to do something different, right? And also enjoy your life more and be more instead of do more, because we are all deluded into thinking that if we do more, we're going to be happier. And sometimes it takes less doing and more being.
yeah, that's a good point too, because yeah, we don't want it to be mixed up like that's all, like we're just all business, no pleasure. The For me, my big thing is like you can live your passion. That can be your purpose, your passion. That can be like what you do for a living, and that gets to be fun. I think we're just bred to believe like, oh, your job isn't fun, it's work. That that's just something you have to do to exist. Whereas to me, that's the human being part. And instead of like, let's do life, experience life, have fun, take it all in and watch what comes from that.
Totally.
Stacey, your perspective on it.
Yeah, I just really liked, standing in your truth.
Mm,
Like that's also another theme that goes through
true.
all of these is I think you said like we wouldn't have you do anything that we wouldn't do.
Mhm.
And we're here literally sharing these tools and our experiences with people so that they know that it's possible.
Yeah.
We stand in our own way. It's like you can see what we're doing and know that you have the ability to do that too. And I just love
because
that all of these
And
together.
all of us
yeah.
now, maybe not in the recent past, but through this work that we've been doing, we're all, and I know I've been doing this for my entire life. I've never been like one to follow the rules or anything like that. But now I believe that you too are doing what you love,
Mm, yeah.
no matter what. Like even Sarah, who took a while to just leap, right? By
Yeah.
choice or by
I
force,
got pushed. Let's be honest.
by choice or by
By
force, but
force.
you wanted it. Yeah, but it's so interesting because you'd already made that
I
decision.
did. It did. And
So,
it was that little like nudge.
that nudge happened because you had worked and you had put it out there, and because you were scared of taking the leap, and then the leap took you. So it was like, you're not leaping. Come on. It's like when somebody is about to jump to a, into a lake or something from a rock. And then
Yeah.
you're looking, and the more you look, the more you don't want to do it, or somebody who wants to bungee jump, or, and it's like, and then somebody just throws you, but you want it to be pushed.
Yeah. And I think at the same time, I think a lot of the, I could have chose so many different, like, I could have chose a different reaction to many situations that would have kept me in that situation, right? Where it was like, I know that was a decision on my part to be like, this is my exit strategy, right?
Exactly.
This is my way. And the beautiful thing that's come from it is I've learned, and again, I mentioned from my clip why it was like that one hits me at home is because there's so many situations that I either stayed in too long when I knew, okay, I'm 3 feet from gold, or vice versa, where I abandoned it too soon. And that's a long time ago. Old Sarah, old version. She's hard to recognize. Um, where now when I'm in these situations, it's like I get to pick and choose, and I recognize when something like I let go. I think of like back in December, an opportunity came up, and I think deep down I knew it wasn't right. And I remember having a conversation on one of our
Yeah.
meditations, and Hannah was like, just hand it over to the universe. If it's the highest, just focus on if it's the, I forget how you eloquently
For
said
the
it, the
highest
highest
good
and
of
greatest good
everybody.
of for all, that will be the outcome. And the outcome was like the thing didn't happen. And I was like, okay, I gotta trust that that was meant to be. And now fast forward like 6 months later, a new opportunity came up that was so much better fit for me, that actually excited me, that gave me the opportunity to like travel and do different things and like still run my business while having a different contract. And it was like, and then that opportunity happened. But had the other one turned out, then I wouldn't have had this come up. And I think I would have had myself back in a situation that maybe I wasn't happy with. So now I know that, those things, I just trust it more easily. Like it was never like, oh, I need this, or oh, it has to happen. It was just that trust, like you were saying, Station, just knowing like the things that are meant to be will happen, and we get to decide what our life looks like, and having that, and knowing now I'm never stuck. I know I'll never be stuck in a situation like that again, because I have so much confidence in what I'm doing now that if something ever goes where it feels out of alignment, I'm done. I'm out. See you later. Thanks for the opportunity, but this isn't for me. Whereas before I wasn't like that.
Because we tend to just stay, and we're people pleasing, and we're like, I can't do that. I can't disappoint people.
Yeah.
And we have found that when we follow our truth, we're also doing other people a service.
Yes.
Because sometimes you think you're doing some good by enduring a situation that's not good for you. And it turns out that not enduring it is a gift for yourself and everybody else around you.
Yeah.
And it just seems to magically work out that way. It's every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty
Oh,
funny.
I loved
Yay!
our episodes. And I loved revisiting our retrospective. And not my surprise at all that we continue to have the same perspective. And oh, something I was going to say is these tools we keep coming back to, right? Like these are things that, Hannah says, oh, we're never going to teach you something that we haven't done ourselves. But not only that, notice that these are things that we're constantly going back to ourselves. Like this isn't just like a one and done. These are things that are just, they're going to continue to come up, and we have the tools to handle them. And you do too. When you watch our episodes, you're getting them handed on a silver platter and you can just gobble them up and use them whenever you need to. So,
Yeah. So, Stacia, as
da-da-da.
usual, our
Do we have a quote of
quote queen.
I just happen to have a very short quote because we have a lot of changes that are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So I saw this and thought it was just perfect.
Quote of the day.
And there is an author by the name of Nikki Rowe. She's really young. She's almost my son's age, because I was like, oh, she's a baby. She's a baby. She said, there's only one place I want to go, and it's to all the places I've never been.
Oh,
And I thought that was just
I have
so
goosebumps
perfect.
from that. Oh,
Yeah. So to tie it all together,
wow.
you know, with everything that we're creating and not staying, you know, stagnated. We're allowing ourselves to get uncomfortable. We're allowing that process. And
Well,
I'm so
more like pushing
excited.
ourselves.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
we're like barreling through. It's like, oh, we're gonna make ourselves uncomfortable because we're getting too comfy, and we're not gonna,
Right.
because we want to make magic. And so it's scary, it's exciting. And if you remember and remind yourself that the hormone cocktail that your body produces when you're scared is the same as when you're excited, and you just switch flip the switch in your mind and say, I'm excited instead of I'm scared, then watch what happens. And so we are very excited for what's coming. And
I am
truthfully,
like busting. I can't wait.
yeah, I was going to say,
Let's spill it all
truthfully,
out.
we are excited. We're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Well, thank you, ladies. That was lovely. And
Thank you.
again, let us know like if you had any of these challenges, if you tested any of these tools yourself after listening to the episode, please let us know. Let us know like your perspective looking back. And then if you haven't listened to those, please, I invite you to go listen to the episodes and then come back and share your thoughts. And yeah, like we mentioned, we have something so exciting, so exciting coming up that we're really we're busting. We cannot wait to share with you. So that will be in the upcoming weeks, and yeah, and then we'll spill all the beans about all the things that are coming up over the next couple months.
Yay.
So thank you all for being here, and we will see you all on the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to the Ripple Effect by the Alliance with Hannah Martinez,
Stacia Stove,
And Sarah Jane Lita. We hope you're now vibing high and ready to create your own ripple.
drop a comment or email to let us know the ripple effect that you are creating.
Music by our very own Hannah Martinez and music production by Onel Moulet.
Follow us on Instagram at the Ripple Effect Pod for more high vibration content. Please rate and review us wherever you listen. Until next time.